Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butz, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Today's program has been brought to you by Whole Foods Market, a dynamic leader in the quality food business, a mission-driven company that aims to set the standards of excellence for food retailers. For more information, visit WholeFoodsMarket.com. You're listening to HeritageRadioNetwork.org, a nonprofit member-supported radio station. We're millions strong, with folks tuning in from over 200 countries. We are education. We are entertainment. We are the future of food. May is our membership drive. Become a member and support us while receiving e-newsletters, advanced invites, special discounts, and a membership card. We need your support. Visit our website and click the donate button to become a member today. Thank you for believing in us, and enjoy the show.
Well, hello and welcome. You're listening to Chef's Story on HeritageRadioNetwork.org, and I'm Dorothy Can Hamilton from the International Culinary Center, and we're sitting in the container at Roberta's in Brooklyn, and today I have the incredibly wonderful Marc Vidal with me, the chef of Boqueria. Hola, chef. Hola. How are you? ¿Cómo están, Benny? We're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
And I went past Boqueria last night. It was jamming. It was packed.
Yes.
I mean, a Tuesday night in the city. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Pretty busy. Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. We're going to get into Boqueria later, but I think you come from one of the greatest places in the world, from Barcelona.
Yes.
Right? Barcelona? Barcelona.
Exactly.
Yes. I think James Michener called it the champagne of Spain. It is such a gorgeous, gorgeous city.
It is.
What was it like growing up there? I mean, did you grow up in the major part of the city?
Mm-hmm. In the neighborhood of Sagrada Familia. My family had a restaurant there, so I was like, well, since I was 6, because in the beginning of my life, my first 6 years, I lived in a little town far away from Barcelona, like 100 miles, called
in Catalonia.
Yeah, in Catalonia, always. And then we moved back to Barcelona, and my grandparents, they had a restaurant there, so in the neighborhood Sagrada Familia.
So what kind of restaurant was it?
It was like a very traditional, traditional restaurant. We used to do like a breakfast and lunch menus. Mm-hmm. Dinner was closed, so we used to close at 7:00 in the afternoon, in the evening, and it was like just a regular market.
Okay, regular to you. Tell me, what was a breakfast like in that restaurant?
Savory dishes.
Savory. So what would people eat? And what time would they eat it? Because you guys stay up really late. Like you eat at midnight or something, or 10 o'clock at night.
Spain,
so what
yes.
time do you have breakfast? 2 in the afternoon? Or?
Breakfast, I will say between 8 and 9:30. Like people, they used to, like, the restaurant was open at 7, and the chefs, they were coming. My grandmother, she will start like at 7 in the kitchen, prepare breakfast, and then leave to the market. And it was 7, and they used to make, like, Spanish omelettes, capipota, like chickpeas with capipota was like kind of like a veal head stew with this kind of
veal
dishes.
Head stew.
Yeah, they will eat this in Spain, in Barcelona. Yeah, with
Women?
chickpeas.
Women and men?
More men. It was in a neighborhood like where like people. It was people from factories going there for breakfast.
Yeah, they needed something
They needed
hearty.
something hearty. Yeah.
And then what was the lunch menu like?
Lunch menu was like a menú del día in Barcelona. In that restaurant, this family restaurant was like a first course, a salad. First course could be like any, like a soup or lentil soup or, then the enters will be like rabbit, canelones, which is very classic in Barcelona, even if it looks like an Italian dish in Barcelona. Canelones are very classic, rabbit dishes.
Is there a lot of pasta? Cannelloni is a pasta,
Cannelloni
right?
is a pasta. And
and is it the same kind as an Italian pasta?
Well, the filling was pork. And then...
but how about the pasta itself?
The pasta was it's Spanish pasta, but...
Is there a difference between Spanish pasta and Italian pasta?
We don't, like, at that time, I remember, like, we didn't do, like, fresh pasta. It was kind of a dry cannelloni pasta.
That you would buy already.
You buy and then you boil.
Boil it,
and,
okay.
And then you roll these cannellonis that you make.
It's probably
the filling.
bought from Italy, right?
No, actually, El Pavo is the brand, and
Yes.
and it was a Spanish brand. Actually.
It was a Spanish brand.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm glad to
very
hear
different,
that. Okay, don't.
And then you could eat like pies de cerdo, which is like pig feet, stews and stuff like that. So it was pretty like hearty.
This sounds like a chef's dream. That's what chefs eat after getting off of work. I love it. Yeah. So I was in Barcelona last June, and I went crazy for the market there. The market, yeah. I mean, I've been in markets all over the world. And the Boqueria, which is the name of your restaurant, but the market in Barcelona is called the Boqueria. It is spectacular. It's worth going to Barcelona just for the Boqueria. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I just love it. What was it like as a little kid walking into that market? What do you remember?
It was amazing. Like, I will say that because I was from another neighborhood in Barcelona, you can find there's so many great markets in the city. Like, every neighborhood has an amazing market. Like, Boqueria is the main market in the city, and it was probably the first one, back 400 years ago. I don't know, like, it's like, the Boqueria is like the place where they used to cut like the animals. They started like this, and then they build the
market around it. So they were the slaughterhouses, and then
exactly.
Because it's not far from the port.
It's very close, like like half a mile, I would say.
Yeah. So what visually do you remember seeing in the market when you were any of the markets when you were 6 or 7 years old?
Amazing product, no? Like fresh seafood. Seafood is amazing in the Mediterranean Sea, and like vegetables. The Boqueria market is like you can get anything right now. No? Like it's.
You presume the hams are going to be there, but when you said vegetables, these are vegetables that are so colorful, deep, the smells, the proliferation, and the different kinds of vegetables that I had never seen before. The peppers were
it's
breathtaking.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know, like all this crazy thing about the local stuff, and in Spain it's been always like this, no? We always cook.
So you just breathe it. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
So did you know from when you were a little boy you wanted to be a chef?
Well, I was, in this family restaurant, and I was a pretty bad student. so it was a point of my life that I had to, decide what to do with my life, and then I decided to to go to culinary school, and my family was like, "No, you're crazy. You're like, no, you don't wanna like that." And then I started, and I became, because I started in the class, and and I knew a little bit of the business and the restaurants and the products, and kind of I became one of the good ones at the school, from being the worst kind of at the class in the elementary school.
How old were you when you were doing
I started with 14 years old.
At 14?
Yeah.
So was it, I'm going to do this because I know about it, but you weren't so passionate, but then when you got there, you got more passionate about it?
Yeah, every day. Like, I think every single day that I work in the restaurant business is like I get more in love, and like...
What made you more in love? Was it a teacher or was it the product?
I will say the whole thing. I don't know, like working in restaurants, like with my family, I worked, in every single part of the restaurant. No? I was helping them with everything. But, like once I started the school, I did stages in different places, and I became in love of like the cooking and the
What's
food
it,
industry.
for a lot of people out there who don't know what the back of a restaurant is like, what's the family feeling, with working with the other cooks? What's the feeling back there? Can you describe
family,
it?
No? Yeah, it's a family. Like you spend more time with these guys that you spend with your family, so it becomes kind of a place where you share everything with them, and you spend a lot of time. You're working with product too, so it's kind of something different. No, like I will say, I don't know how is it working in an office, but it's pretty special.
Well, I think in an office you're doing your work, and maybe it relates to somebody else's work, and you have meetings. Mm-hmm. But in a kitchen, you're constantly working together, right?
Yeah, everything's a team. Yeah,
everything is a team. It's almost like being a football team.
Yeah, like we always say, it's like if you have a chef that is missing one day, it's like a kind of a show in a theater. It's like if one is missing, then the whole thing it's messed up. It's like so you need everybody. And
so what were the kinds of things you learned in the school that you didn't learn in your family restaurant?
I think all the bases. Like in my family restaurant, I will, learn recipes. Mm-hmm. Like probably like the recipes were limited because my grandmother was the chef, and like she will always make these great recipes, but always kind of the same. But then you go to school and you open kind of to the rest of the, like all the bases, the sauces, the stocks, and all the cooking techniques and.
So it really enlarged your
exactly.
Your vision.
It's a good thing.
So you worked at some spectacular restaurants during your. Tell us about that. And what did you learn at each of them?
Well, I worked in I'm very happy of all my kind of like learning process. I have to say that I pushed always myself when I was very young. I pushed myself to like learn a lot and go to like. Try to go to the best places. So I started like my first like super kind of big thing was like a restaurant called Can Gach in Barcelona, 1 Michelin star. It's like traditional kind of like with a little twist of Catalan cuisine. He's kind of one of the best chefs in Catalonia and most well known, Carles Gach. And I spent there a summer with them, and then I said, like, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to...
How was that restaurant different from others? To make
it was, for me, it was my first, like, professional kitchen. Like, it was, like, everything amazingly, organized, and the techniques were, like, super precise, and it was Catalan cuisine at the same time. So it was, like, what I lived... all my life, like, in the beginning of my life, on my learning process, but then it was like kind of like to the other level, to the next level. So it was, I don't know, different.
So it just took you to a different level of execution in your food.
Yeah,
and understanding.
Thinking kind of. Yeah.
So then you went to the French guys, right? You went up to Alain Persat and Ducasse. Why did you go to France?
I was I worked in Canary Islands for a summer because I was so bad student I couldn't ever travel. My parents, they will never, like send me somewhere else to study English or whatever. And so I wanted to travel always. I was and then I went to Canary Islands. I worked in a hotel, and then I went back to Barcelona, and a teacher, he told me, Monday you're going to Paris. And I said, that was a Friday. And I said, why? And then he said, no, you're going to Paris. And I said, okay. I was kind of...
On a
okay.
Friday? Monday
Yeah.
you're going to Paris?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like this. And then I went to Paris to work in a restaurant that the government of Catalonia was opening a restaurant in Paris to promote the culture and the gastronomy of the Catalan cuisine, the Catalan culture, no? And so I went there. I opened that restaurant with like amazing people, like the best sommelier of Spain, one of the best chefs at that point in Barcelona. Everybody super young, and then we opened that, and I stayed there for a year. Then I went back to Barcelona. I worked in another restaurant as a pastry chef. I had the opportunity to go to El Bulli.
And you did?
And I did, because I had this friend of mine, he was staging there, and he said, Mark, they are short in stagiaires, these guys, so if you want to, come, I think you're going to...
What was that like? What's it like to work for him? Does he scream in the kitchen?
I saw him scream one day.
One day?
One day. The rest of the days that he didn't need to, but it was like, kind of like, you knew that you were in one of the best restaurants in the world, and it was a lot of people working in the kitchen.
There's
very,
huge
very
amount,
organized.
20-something people.
We
right
were
there.
40-something.
40-something. I
Yeah.
heard it was huge. So what do you work on? Do you work on one little thing?
Well, I spent the first 2 weeks in the prep kitchen, so just prepping, and then after that they passed me to one of the stations, and I worked with the chef de partie, like we were 3 or 4 in the.
And were you doing spherification and
not
all
at
of
that
this?
point, because that was in 2000.
Uh-huh.
He started at that point. It was more like hot gelatins with agar-agar, and.
So he had started on the using different.
Yeah, he already did the foams and all that stuff,
Right.
But it was more like that year was more like about the hot gelatins, and but still, like a lot of the food was like, I remember the sardine, like fillet of sardine with a super sliced thin of bread, put on top, and then seared a la plancha with like a romesco, deconstructed romesco sauce, which is kind of or picada was kind of, and it was amazing. It was like super simple and extremely.
Does he sit there and think these things up and then everybody executes, or does he ask the cooks for their
I think
opinion?
I think in El Bulli, my period there was super short, so I don't know, but I think they have everything pre-organized, so they don't how you say
The cooks improvise,
Yeah,
or the chefs don't really say, "Hey, let's add a little of this."
No. They're super organized. They have all the recipes, write it down, and.
Was it different working in France for Alain Passat and Ducasse? Do the French chefs have a different atmosphere in their kitchen than the Spanish?
Alain Passat was definitely more improvised, I will say. Like, he will get in the kitchen, put a coat on top of his shirt, and get some products, whatever he had, and then cook some amazing, like vegetables. Or I was at Alain Passat. I was that year that he started all this vegetarian kind of menu. So like he had only one fish and one pigeon dish, and he had also the chicken, the roasted slow chicken, but everything else was almost.
He has his
vegetables.
own farm, right?
I think so now. Yeah. At that point,
at that point he didn't.
I don't think he didn't, but now I know he does. And then so he was more like improvising. I worked there in the pastry too, and baking all the bread. This rustic, super light, amazing crust bake.
But did you walk in the kitchen
bread.
and say, "Oh, you could tell this is a French kitchen"? As opposed,
Well,
because you learned classic technique. I mean, even in Italy and Spain, they use the basic technique that the French codified. They didn't necessarily create it, but they codified it. But could you tell them? Was there an atmosphere? Was there just a system that was different that you said, "Oh, this is very French compared to being Spanish"?
I would say there were more focus on the product than the technique in France. Well, because in my learning process in Spain, I worked in these restaurants that they were like, if I'm thinking about Can Gach, this first restaurant, it was about product and Catalan cuisine, but El Bulli was more about technique. Also great product, but the technique was very important. No? And when I moved to France, it was like more about like, more classic recipes. A lot of butter and but it was more, about the product. No, they will get a product and focus on that product and try to.
So now you're in America. What do you think an American kitchen focuses on?
Right
Not
now,
yours. We're going to get into yours after the break.
Right now, product.
Product.
I will say, yeah, and I'm, very
You're as
happy
crazy
to see
about
that.
product too.
Yeah, now it's all about product, no, and like the difference between, that I like for a Spanish chef that comes to the States, here people like in Spain is all like if you go to a regular restaurant at the Boqueria market, they will focus on the product. You will get seared gambas, shrimp, just a la plancha with olive oil and a little bit of kosher salt on top, and that's it. And here, like people expect a little bit more. No, they want like crunchy and acidic, something acidic on the dish, like something buttery, so like kind of like a mix of different flavors and textures, and which is great. I think I like it, and I'm kind of adapting myself to.
Well, we're going to get okay. We're going to take a break right here, and when we come back, we're going to start talking about you and your personal style.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. You're listening to Chef's Story, and we'll be right back.
Today's program has been brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Are you a locavore? Our Northeast Regional Forager for Whole Foods Market sure is. She spends her time traveling around the New York City metro area sourcing the best new or interesting artisanal and handcrafted local products for our purchasing teams at the local store level. Part of our commitment to our local suppliers includes assisting them with the process of getting their products sold at our stores. Whether it's suggesting packaging designs, pricing, or distribution methods, she's helping some of the area's best new products reach savvy shoppers at Whole Foods Market stores. Today, New York. Tomorrow, the world. For more information, visit WholeFoodsMarket.com.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to Chef's Story. I'm Dorothy Cann Hamilton, and today my guest is Marc Vidal from Boqueria. But before we get into your story, I've got to remind the listeners out there that this is membership month. And if you like Chef's Story, if you like all of this great programming on Heritage Radio Network, it doesn't come for free, and we need your help. And what you can become is a member, and we'll be in contact with you, and we have lots of great parties. And you know how hard it is to get a seat at Roberta's. If you come to our parties, it makes it a lot easier, and you meet all the cool people out here. So, go to the website, sign up, and we'll see you out here. So, today, we're back with Marc Vidal, one of the great Barcelonan chefs. And he has great restaurants in New York called Boqueria, named after the Mercato in Barcelona. But Marc, tell me, how did you get to the States, and why did you come?
I was in Barcelona working in a hotel. When I was 26, they offered me this job in Barcelona to run a big hotel and opening gastronomy kind of fine dining restaurant in the top of the hotel. And then I was there, and then a friend of mine told me that somebody was looking to open a restaurant in Miami. And then I said, okay, I was kind of happy there. I was happy, but I always wanted to learn English and, travel a little bit more because I always wanted to travel. And then they offered me, and I said, okay. So I get in all this process, with different chefs, and then they give me an offer. And then I said, okay, I'm going 2 years, and then I'm coming back, because I want to spend my life in Barcelona and my time there. And then, I started with this restaurant in Coral Gables called Por Fin. It was a restaurant that, it was more fine dining, but very, tapas and kind of like a few appetizers as a tapas, and then like main course dishes. Like a little bit refined for what I end up doing at the end. But it was a fun place to work, and then a couple of years after, they offered me another job at the W Hotel in South Beach to open a restaurant called Solea, which was a great opportunity for me with Karim and Nicola Siervo from K&R Group. And we opened the restaurant. It went very well. And then, like a year after, Jan de Rochefort called me to come to New York, and it was pretty exciting, and to come to a city like this.
How long have you been here now?
2.5.
Are you a New Yorker now?
I think so.
I know. New Yorkers are not born; they're made. There are people who are born in Kansas and in Barcelona, but they're born New Yorkers. Mm-hmm. So when you get here, you either know you belong or you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us. Tell us about Spanish cuisine. Now is the hottest cuisine in America. There are restaurants opening up. There are even people like Michael Chiarello, who's known for Italian. He's opening a Spanish restaurant. I mean, what is a Spanish restaurant? And then what is Boqueria?
I think what the one of the greatest things that Spain has is like tapas. And tapas is like something like it's a way of life. It's something fun. It's something that it's something to enjoy, to share. And I think people here, they like that, no? And that's easy to like, no? Probably.
It's very easy to like. But we were never used to eating small dishes, and that's what tapas is ordering lots of small dishes that are exquisite. So is that Boqueria is basically a tapas restaurant. So how do you think of, if you're hungry and you want a whole meal, how do you think of a meal in small dishes? And when you, as the chef, do you think of these dishes if you order this, you should order these other three? Or is it just, here's all these dishes independently and then pick and choose as you like? How does it work in your mind when you're conceiving your menus?
Our restaurant has like two menus basically. One is our basics of the tapas that you can find anywhere in Spain, like all the classics, our DNA, and then we have a market menu which is like changed daily, with the stuff that we can find around here, and make our own dishes with a little bit of never forgetting where we're coming from, no? And I will say, like, you start with we have fried food, and then we have some vegetables, and you want to end up a meal with a paella, and some markets, I don't know, like.
What about the jamon?
Jamón, always. Yeah,
Always.
Jamón, pan con tomate.
And pate tomate.
Pan con tomate.
Tell about the bread and the tomato.
Bread and tomato is like, it's a classic. You can eat in a sandwich. It's like the main kind of tapa or dish in Catalonia. It's bread, toasted. A little bit toasted, slightly toasted. You want a little bit soft in the middle, and then just grated tomatoes on top. You can grate it, or you can just cut a tomato in half and then squeeze that tomato. Olive oil and salt. That's kind of amazing.
Do you use a special salt?
We use Maldon salt for
Malden. I love Malden salt.
So it gets kind of.
That's
like
English
slow.
salt. Did you use that in
Yes.
Barcelona?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of people use that one. There are great salts now in Spain, but we are used to this one. We like the flavor, the explosion of these flavors that give this
and
salt.
the flakiness
Yeah.
of the Malden salt is really great.
So we're used to this one and we're using it. So
Have you conceived a tapas dish that's your own? I mean, you become very original. They're very classic dishes, tapas dishes. But tell us about some that you feel ownership of, that you think are signature dishes.
I will say on the base menu, like this regular menu, like there's nothing that is like signature or on my own thing. It's like, what I said is like something that you can find anywhere. Like, we give, every recipe has our little touch, no? It's a different patatas bravas or shrimp, garlic shrimp, or like we always put a little bit of our, how we think it will be better. But the tapas, the market menu is the one that we enjoy the most. And with our chefs in the restaurants in Washington and here in New York, it's like where we have more fun, no? Because we. So
you have the market Boqueria in Barcelona. Where do you go here to get inspired by the market?
Well, in Union Square. I have a meeting with my chefs every Friday there, and we have some ideas, and we put together ideas that with the stuff that we can see there, and then we run specials the week after, and we keep them for a couple of weeks, and then we change, and it's like changing every day something, so nobody gets bored.
Do you have direct relationships with the farmers there, because that you have to buy in bulk, or do you just go around and?
We go around. We have a couple that we always buy something, but we go around and we pick some stuff. We fill up a cap and go to the restaurant. So that's how we do it.
And so now, tell me about the jamón.
Jamón.
Yeah, there's so many types of jamón. That was the thing in the markets in Spain. Different qualities, but they, everyone has we have country ham here, and the Italians have prosciutto. But jamón ibérico is like nothing I've ever tasted in my life. It is so unctuous.
Amazing.
And the depth, and the fat in your, it's.
Yeah, so there are peaks from, Iberian peaks that they're like growing in like this, they eat acorns for the last 3 months.
They're in the forest.
In the forest. They
How big do they get? Are they little pigs or big?
No,
pigs?
they're big. They're pretty big.
Hundreds of pounds.
Yeah. 300 pounds, I will say.
Mm-hmm. And is it the ham from the leg?
The ham is from the leg, and then the shoulder is called paleta. And both are very good. The more expensive one and the more like value kind of ham is the one from the ham, but the shoulder is amazing. It's like we have shoulders at the restaurant sometimes, and it's like
is that smoked like the ham, or
it's
aged?
Not smoked?
No,
it's like they they cure them in salt, and then they hang them for months, and they get cured.
What kind of salt do they? Just regular Spanish salt.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about what kind of salt they use, but.
So what do they do with the rest of the pig?
They do like a lot of things. The salchichones, chorizos. They eat every part of the pig.
Is chorizo always Iberico pigs?
Not always. Chorizo could be like from regular pigs, but if you do a chorizo ibérico, then you have a really tasty chorizo, much better quality, obviously.
So Iberico ham, is that pate negra, the black-footed pig?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the name of the pig is pate negra?
The name of the pig, it's a kind of pig called Iberian pig.
Okay, so is that that's the area?
The pate negra is the black-footed
Black-footed pig.
yeah.
And the Iberica is the area it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but they're called also the race of the pig. It's Iberico.
Oh, the race of the pig is called Iberico too. So they only recently were able to import this in the United States. Is
Yeah.
it easy to find? Retail wise? I know. Is it easy for you to buy now?
Well, if you want to buy for your home, I will recommend you to go to a store called España in Soho.
Yeah, on Broome Street, right?
In Broome Street, yeah.
Yeah.
They have great jamones. There's a couple brands. One of them, it's like Cinco Jotas, which is kind of like the one of the top brands in Spain too. So.
And
it's really
La
good
Tienda
quality.
is there online?
La Tienda online, yeah.
Online. I think they were very instrumental, as was Jose Andres,
Yes.
in getting their legislation passed, so we could get these pigs. What other products from Spain do you think are, quintessential Spanish flavor that you don't find in any other country?
I would say piquillo peppers definitely are like one of the greatest products we have. I always said that here people can seafood, they don't really like it, but we have great canned seafood in Spain.
Canned seafood?
Amazing.
Really?
you
Like
can get
what?
Like clams, razor
Canned
clams.
clams?
Yeah, mussels.
How do you work with them? What kind
Well,
of
you
dish
can-
do you put them in?
I just open them and put a little spicy sauce on top and eat it like this. That's how we eat it in Spain.
So, do they sell those canned
At the España you can find
at
some.
España
Yeah.
and probably on La Tienda? Too.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I've never done it. I have to buy a can and try it.
There is a sauce called espinale. I never seen it in the States, but I'm trying to push like suppliers to bring that sauce. It's like kind of a spicy red sauce that in Spain there are restaurants that they just open these cans, they put it in a plate, and they put this sauce on top, and it's like aperitivo, amazing
My
aperitivo.
gosh, that's fast food. That
Yeah.
should be our fast food, not
Yeah.
French fries, frozen French fries out of the.
And then the anchovies, no? The salt cure anchovies is another one of the
salt cure.
greatest.
And the salted capers.
Not that. I wouldn't say. I would stay with
Wait
the
for it.
anchovies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, anchovies is like caviar for us. So it's.
So what's your future plans? What is there's something you want to do with your personal cuisine that I'm not saying next year, but 10 years from now, what do you think that far out?
I don't want to think too much. I like to live my day, enjoy my every day, and but I want to I want to do more things like cooking, and with Boqueria I'm planning to do more things and like try to bring to Americans our kind of culture and our gastronomy.
We don't have much time left, but to wind down, what do you want people to say when they walk out of your restaurant?
Well, that they had a great meal, I guess.
Goes without saying.
Yeah, and that they had a good time.
Yeah,
that's the most important. No, like they enjoyed. They had a good service. They loved the food. They thought the food is high quality food, even if it's a tapas restaurant. No, that normally people can say, oh, I don't know, But if we use great products and we cook them well. That's what we want, no? People.
All right, so now you've got a few boquerias. Why don't you tell everybody where they are, now that we've made everybody want to go there?
One in... the first one was Boqueria 19th Street between 5th and 6th in Manhattan, and the other one in Soho, Spring Street between Thompson and West Broadway, and then we have another one in Washington, D.C. that we opened last year.
Ah.
And
where's that?
It's in 19th and M, in the Pont Circle area. Great restaurant. Both, all three of them.
Okay, all right. So I think actually we're gonna, for the first time, we're gonna go out and eat a pizza here in Roberta's, but I wish we were having some of your tapas. Thanks for coming today, Marc. And thanks for listening. You've been listening to Chef's Story, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this program on heritageradionetwork.org. You can find all of our archived programs on our website or as podcasts in the iTunes Store by searching Heritage Radio Network. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at @heritage_radio. You can email us questions at any time at info@heritageradionetwork.org. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization. To donate and become a member, visit our website today. Thanks for listening.